If you're in the market for an ultra-wide curved gaming monitor for relatively cheap and stumbled upon the Acer Nitro EDA343CUR, then watch this video before you buy it. We're talking about a specific version of this monitor, the V3BM-II-PX. First things first, the price. At the time of writing, this monitor costs just under $280. However, in the past 3 months, this monitor has been priced at just under $290. That's a difference of $10. And if I were you, I'd get this monitor before it comes back up to that price just so you can save a few more dollars. Otherwise, if you want to grab it now, you may do so. Moving on, the Acer Nitro EDA343CUR is a curved gaming monitor with a curvature radius of 1000 millimeters. It uses a VA panel, which means you get deep blacks and excellent contrast ratios. This results in a much more pleasing image when it comes to regular content consumption like watching movies or YouTube, and even playing cinematic games and games in general. However, this comes with slightly higher response times and a subtle ghosting effect, which might not be suitable or might hamper your performance in competitive games. Now let's talk about the screen resolution before we get too deep into the performance. This monitor has a screen resolution of 3440 by 1440. That's practically an aspect ratio of 21:9, which is ultra wide. Personally, at this wide of an aspect ratio, I'd prefer playing games which are more immersive than competitive and fast-paced. Single-player games or simulators are more suited for ultra-wide monitor. However, that does not mean you can't play FPS games with it. This monitor has a refresh rate of 180 Hz, which is great for practically every game there is. And it's not just for gaming. It's suitable for everyday general use since it provides smoother and more fluid motions. Now, as I've mentioned previously, this monitor uses a VA panel and it results in a slightly higher response time. This monitor is advertised to be capable of having as low as 0.5 milliseconds of response time. But again, that's just a marketing term to convince you to get the monitor. The truth is, this monitor would have an average response time of around maybe 10 milliseconds or at the very least 7 milliseconds. For the average user, this is acceptable, and I think it's also low enough for a little bit of competitive gaming. If you're worried about screen tearing and you think that V-Sync isn't going to cut it, then you'll be happy to know that this monitor has AMD FreeSync Premium but no NVIDIA G-Sync support. This should help with reducing or ultimately eliminating screen tearing. This monitor covers about 90% of the Adobe RGB color gamut. For creative or professional workloads where color accuracy is important, this might not be enough, as this doesn't cover as much colors as DCI P3. Finally, let's talk about the design and the ports. The monitor is quite wide, again thanks to its ultra-wide aspect ratio. 3 of the bezels, the sides, and the top are thin, while the bottom makes up space for the Acer logo. To the back, there are RGB lights which really enhance the gamer vibe, but it doesn't really add any other benefit. The stand itself isn't too bad, but I'd rather recommend using a monitor arm for this just to increase your desk space. I've got just the product for you. Now let's talk about the ports. This specific version gets 1 DisplayPort 1.4, 2 HDMI 2.0 ports, 1 Type A, Type B, and Type C ports, and a 3.5mm audio jack. One other tiny detail about this monitor is that it has speakers, but they're of subpar quality, and you'd be better off using headphones or external speakers. Overall, this monitor is great for practically all uses. For gaming, this monitor performs the best with immersive or cinematic titles, as well as little competitive gaming on the side. For general use like content consumption or for creative and professional workloads, the overall performance of this monitor and wide aspect ratio helps a lot with lots of tasks. And the wide Adobe RGB coverage helps out with color accuracy. If you're interested in this monitor, you can check out the link in the description box below, or simply you can just scan this QR code to check it out on Amazon right now. This has been Marty, and I'll be seeing you on the next video. Cheers!